In this video, we will solve 4 problems in engineering economics under the topic Present Economic Studies. And this is the problem number 1. Complying with all government housing regulations and requirements, the employees' union of a certain firm has the option to purchase either of 2 sites, each having an area of 18 hectares or that is 180,000 square meters of undeveloped land. The first is singly owned, costing 20 pesos a square meter, but would need a roadway system, including the access road 4,000 meters long at a cost of 110 pesos per meter. Additional development expenses would be 60,000 pesos to subdivide and grade into 320 house lots, and another 32,000 pesos for a hollow block fence and security gates. The second site consists of 3 lots separately owned with a total area of 18 hectares, 7 hectares at 25 pesos a square meter, 5 hectares at 21 pesos a square meter, and 6 hectares at 14 pesos a square meter. The road system for this site would be only 3,200 meters long at 100 pesos per meter, but needs 2 box culverts, each costing 25,000 pesos. Lot grading would be 35,000 pesos. Fencing and security gates, 24,000 pesos. Compute the direct cost and add 10% for contingencies on both sites. Assuming that all other facilities would cost the same in both sites. Letter A, how much is the total site development cost in the first site? And letter B, how much is the total site development cost in the second site? So here we will compare 2 alternatives using present economic studies. So first, let's get the total site development cost for the first site. So this is our site number 1. So our site number 1 is singly owned. So the first site is singly owned. It says there that the land costs 20 pesos a square meter. So land cost, that will be 20 pesos per square meters. And how many square meters is the land? That is a total of 180,000 square meters. And that is equal to 20 times 180,000. So 3 million. So that is 3,600,000. Next, we have the roadway system, including the access road 4,000 meters long at a cost of 110 pesos per meter. So that is road, says there that is 110 per linear meter. And how long is the road? That is 4,000 meters long. So that is 440,000 pesos. So next is the additional development expenses. That will be to subdivide and grade. We need 60,000 pesos. So subdivide and grade, that will equal to 60,000 pesos. And another 32,000 for the hollow block fence and security gates. So fence and gates, says the additional 32,000 pesos. So how much? That will be 3.6 million plus 440,000 plus 60,000 plus 32,000. So that will be 4,132,000 pesos. And that's not the total, because it says here in the problem, compute the direct cost. So this is just the direct cost, and add 10% contingencies. So 10% for contingencies on both sides. So let's not forget the 10%. So for the total, site development cost is now equal to 4,132,000 plus the 10% of the direct cost, 4,132,000. So that's now total of 4,132,000 plus 0.1 of 4,132. So 4 is 4,545,200. So that is the total project cost for, so total development cost for site 1. So that's just for site number 1. Let's go to site number 2. Now for site number 2, the second site here, it consists of 3 lots. So for these lots separately owned, we have here 7 hectares at 25 pesos a square meter, 5 hectares at 21 pesos a square meter, and 6 hectares at 14 pesos a square meter. So let's write here land. Land that is equal to 7 hectares. For the 7 hectares, we have there, of course, 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters, and that is 25 per square meters. The other one, that is 5 hectares times 10,000 divided by 1, and that is 21 per square meters, of course. And the other one there is 6 hectares, 10,000. So let's just put here 10,000 multiplied with 14 pesos. So how much are these? The first one is 70 times 25. So 1,750,000. The other one is 50 times 21. 1,050,000. Then the other one is 6 hectares times 14. So that will be 840,000. So that's for the land. Next, we will compute the road system. The road system is 3,200 meters long at 100 pesos per meter. So for the road, it's right here, road. That would be, the price here is 100 per linear meter, and that is 3,200 meters long. So how much? So 320,000. Next, the two box culverts. It says here 2 box culverts, each costing 25,000 pesos. So meaning for the box culverts here, that is 25,000 multiplied with 2. So it says there each. So that is 50,000. Then next is the lot grading. The lot grading is 35,000, and as for the fencing and security gates, it will be 24,000. So grading is 35,000, and for the fencing that was 24,000. Now what's now the total direct cost? So let's see, is that 24,000? Yeah. For the total direct cost, we have 1,750,000 plus 1,050 plus 840. 2 million. Oh no. Wait. Oh, this one here. 1,750 exponent 3. There. 4,069,000. So that's just the direct cost. For the total site development or total cost, including the contingency of 10%, that is 4,069,000 plus 0.1. So that is equal to 4,475,900. So 4,475,900. So that's for the second site. Okay, so for site number 1, and then site number 2. Okay, so let's go to the problem number 2. The ore of a gold mine in the Mountain Province contains, on average, 0.5 gram of gold per ton. One method of processing costs 679.80 pesos per ton and recovers 93% of the gold, while another method costs only 618 pesos per ton and recovers 81% of the gold. If gold can be sold at 3,502 pesos per gram, how much is the net income in each method? So we will solve the net income in each method. So let's go first for the first method. Now for the first method, well, okay, it says there, on average, the ore of a gold mine contains 0.5, so the 0.5 0.5 grams of gold per ton. Or that is 0.5 G per ton as for the gold. One method says here the processing cost is 679.80 per ton and recovers 93% of the gold. Okay, so that is the income, because it will cost 618, it can be sold for 3,500. Okay. So for the first method, we have the processing cost. So that is fixed. That's already 679.80. That is in per ton. And then for the income, it says here or I think we should put it here. Let's have the income first. So for the income, in the first method, it can recover 93% of the gold. So if they are mining in the mountain province, the average grams of gold per ton from the ore, when you get it pure or you get it 100%, that is 0.5 grams of gold. But here in the first method, the recovery percentage is only 93%. So meaning they can only recover 93% of that 0.5 grams per ton of gold whenever they mine the mountain province. And with these grams of gold per ton, they can sell it per gram. So let's put it here. So 0.5 grams per ton, then they can sell for 3,502 per gram. So you can cancel out gram here. So cancel out grams and you get here 0.93 times 0.5 times 3,502. So 1628.43. So that is 1628.43 per ton. So now we can conduct here. So we can minus it here now, or deduct here, because they have the same unit. So this minus. Net income is now equal to 1628.43 minus 679.8. That is 948.63. 948.63 per ton. So that's the net income for the first method. Now for the second method, so solve first for the income. So it has a recovery rate of 81%. So 81% of 0.5 grams per ton times the price is 3,502 per gram. So that is equal to how many per ton? 0.81 times 0.5 times 3502. So 1418. So 1418.31 per ton. And the processing cost, minus 618 per ton. So net income is now equal to how many pesos per ton? So 800.31 per ton. So that's the income for the second method. So if you're going to choose which alternative you're going to use, of course, the one with the higher income, which is the first method. So there's another method here that you can use if we are going to consider it as per gram. So there's another solution, or so we have here first method. So since we have here the gold can be obtained, so 0.5 grams per ton multiplied with 0.93. So we have there 0.5 times 0.93, 0.465. So that will be 0.465 grams per ton. So we have here the net income. So if we are looking for the per gram, so the net income here is 948.63 per ton, and then we have here 1 ton over 0.465 gram. So we can cancel out tons here. So 948.63 divided by 0.465, that is 2040.06. 2040, so 2040.06 per gram if we are looking for per gram. So this is the income in per gram. Second method, so gold is equal to 0.5 grams per ton multiplied with 0.81. So we have here 0.405, 0.405 grams per ton, and the income here is 800.31 per ton, that is 1 ton over 0.405 grams. Cancel tons here. So how much is the income per gram? So that will be 1976.07 per gram. So again, you can see that both method, so we will use the first method. Or another method here, or another solution. So for the first method, so we will solve via the cost. The cost for the first method here is 679.80. 679.80, that is per ton. So multiplied with, so in 1 ton, we are to recover 93% of gold. So this is 1461.94, and this is per gram. The net income now here is equal to the price of gold, that is 3,502 pesos per gram, minus the 1461.94 per gram. So we have here 3502 minus 1461.94. So that is 2040.06 per grams for the first method. Same with the answer here. Now how about for the second method? The second method. So the cost for the second method here is how much? 618. So that is 618 pesos per ton multiplied with 1 ton, and then the recovery for gold is 81%. That is equal to 1525.93 per grams or per gram. Therefore, the net income is equal to the price of gold minus the cost, 1525.93. So 1976.07 per gram. So that's for, so again it's the same with this solution. So all three solutions point to alternative or the first method as the best method. So that's number 2. Let's go to the problem number 3. An 8-meter wide concrete road pavement, 500 meters long, is desired to be constructed over a well-compacted gravel road, together with the necessary concrete curbs and gutters on both sides. In order to put the subgrade on an even level grade, a 500 cubic meter of sand filling is necessary, over which the 25 centimeter concrete pavement will be placed. Assuming the following data, sand fill, including rolling and watering, is 150 pesos per cubic meter. Concrete curb and gutter, labor and materials, that will be 180 pesos per linear meter. Concrete pavement, 25 centimeters thick, labor and materials, including curing, that will be 330 pesos per square meter. Compute the direct cost and add 15% for contingencies. Letter A, how much is the sand filling cost? And letter B, how much will the project cost, allowing for contingency? Okay, so we'll compute for the So the first one is the sand filling. So let's compute for the sand filling. So for the sand filling cost, it says there it is 150 pesos per cubic meter. Now, how many cubic meter of sand is required? It is 50 or 500 cubic meter of sand filling. Therefore, the cost for sand filling now here is equal to 150 times 500. It is 75,000 pesos. So that's the answer for the first question. Now for the second question, how much will the project cost allowing for contingency? So we will again solve for the direct cost. So after the sand fill, we will compute for the, so you will notice that you will follow the items that have costs. So these are the items that have costs. We have sand fill, concrete curb and gutter, and then the concrete pavement. So there are 3 items that we will put here. So the first one, the sand filling. The second one is the curb and gutter. For the curb and gutter, it says there 180 pesos per linear meter. And how long is the concrete pavement? So the concrete pavement is 8 meters wide. So it is 8 meters wide and it is 500 meters long. So that is 500 meters long. Okay. And then take note of the word here that the concrete curbs and gutters are on both sides. Of course, if you have here the roadway, so we have here the center line. So the curb and gutter will be put here at the sides. So there are 2 sides. So if the length of the road is 500 meters, therefore we will multiply it into 2. There are 2 sides, so that is, let's put here 2 sides for emphasis. So 180 times 500 times 2, that is 180,000 pesos. Next, the last item, we have the pavement, the concrete pavement. And the cost here is 330 per square meters. So square meter of the pavement, so it says here 8 meters wide and 500 meters long. So 8 meters wide and 500 meters long. So how much? 330 times 8 times 500. So 1,320,000. Now we now have our direct cost. So our direct cost here is 75,000 plus 180,000 plus 1,320. So 575. So 1,575,000. For the total cost now, total project cost is equal to 1,575 plus 0.15 of 1,575,000. So total project cost is now equal to 1,811,250. 1,811,250 pesos. So that's for number 3. Let's go to the problem number 4, the last problem for this video. A contractor has 50 men of the same capacity at work on a job. They can complete the work in 30 days. The working day being 8 hours, but the contract expires in 20 days. He decides to put 20 additional men. If all the men get 350 pesos per day for a full or part-time day, and if the liquidated damages are 200 pesos for every full or part day he requires over his contract time. Letter A. How many men should the contractor hire so he can complete the work on time? Letter B. Would the contractor save money by putting enough men and not paying the fine? How much is saved? Now this one is a tricky question, and let's see how we will solve this. The first one is that it's asking how many men should the contractor hire so he can complete the work on time. So the question pertains to the total workload, the total labor or the payroll that the contractor will pay. So it's not asking for the additional men, rather the question is asking for the total men, that is the total hired men, so that the work can be completed on time. So how do we solve that? Total number of men to finish. So we will use the man days equation. So we have the man days equation. So for 50 men, it says here, the contractor already has 50 men and they can complete the work in 30 days. The contract requires that the project should be finished in 20 days. So the contract is 20 days. There is the data. So meaning for the 50 men who can finish the work in 30 days, so how many men can finish the work in 20 days? So that is 50 men in 30 days. So X for 20 days. So X is equal to, that is 50 times 30 divided by 20. So 75 men. So that is the total number of men that the contractor should hire so he can complete the work on time. So it did not mention there additional men, but rather it mentions there how many men should the contractor hire pertaining to the total men needed to complete the work. Now for letter B, would the contractor save money by putting enough men and not paying the fine? And then it's asking for how much is saved. So obviously this is a form of comparison. So you will compare it with the total number of men and the current men that the contractor already hired. So the question here is, how many men has the contractor already hired compared to the, so we'll compare it with the total men required to finish the work. So how do we do that? First, we will need to know that the contractor already had 50 men. So the contractor already had 50 men current. So let's say their current hired or high, that is currently hired men. is equal to 50 plus, it says here, he decides, the statement here, he decides to put 20 additional men. Meaning, he hires 20 additional men. So, he already have a total of 70 men. So, he has a total of 70 men to finish the work. So, that means he will exceed the contract of 20 days. So, we will solve that. Let's see how many days they will finish using 70 men. So, that will be 70, that will be 50 men. So, we will use the basis. 50 men in 30 days. And then we have 70 men here. And the question here is how many days will they finish? So 50 times 30 divided by the 70, that is 21.42 of 21.43. So that's already an excess. It says there that you per day or part-time of a day. So it says here, if all men get 350 pesos per day for full or part day, so meaning we will consider this as a full day. So that is equal to 22 days. It's already considered as a whole day for this point 43. So 22 days for the 70 men to finish the work. So how much is the cost if you are to use 70 men? So add 50 plus 22 men, that will be 22 days. So what are the items that we're going to pay here? There are how many items? So that 350 pesos per day is for the labor and for the penalty. So how much is the penalty? That is 200 pesos penalty. So first we put here labor. First item here is the labor cost. So 70 men will be paid how much? That is 350 for 22 days. So how much is that? 70 times 350 times 22, 539,000 pesos. Then for the penalty, of course it will have a penalty because it exceeds the 20 days period contract. And that is how much? 200. So that is 200 pesos. Oops. So it also mentioned here for every full or part day. So that's why we have here 22. So 2,000 pesos. 2,000. It is 400. So 400 pesos. So 539, 400. Now how about the at 75 men? Of course, since this is 20 days, there's no penalty. So we will just use here the item labor cost. So that is 75 men, 350 pesos per day for 20 days. How much is the direct cost, labor cost? 525,000. So savings now. So as you can see here, if we compare the two alternatives, so you will save using the 75 men. So by not paying the fine, you will save. But how much? Savings is equal to 539,400 minus 525,000. So that is equal to 14,400. So that's for problem number 4. There. So that's all for this video.